Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome to On Her Side. Today I have my guest with me, Sadia Nasir Sahiba. Sadia, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, Munazza. Jazakallah for having me on this show.
Oh, Jazakallah for taking the time to come here. I'm really excited about today's conversation. We're going to be talking about the spirit of entrepreneurship, what it means to turn ideas into reality, and to really build something meaningful from the ground up, as you've done, just to start a new business. So I've always heard that business people are risk takers. Is that you?
I am, in a way, because, unless you're ready to take risks and you're ready to make sacrifices, you cannot start a new business. And especially starting from scratch requires a lot of risks.
Yeah, so you've got to be strong, right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a mother of two, alhamdulillah. I live in Vaughan. I lived here for about 25 years. I have worked in different capacities as well, not in this field, but different capacities over the years. Currently, I'm working as a legal assistant at a refugee law office as I'm working on my business.
And so it sounds like you have your hands full. Mashallah, you're doing so many different things. So how did this idea come to you? Where did you begin?
So the idea came to me from observing my elders. Basically, I wanted to do something professionally for our senior community, for our elders. I had the opportunity to observe my grandparents when I was little. I saw that their needs were evolving over time when they were aging, but that was a long time ago. More recently, when I see my own parents age in this Canadian healthcare system, I see that there is a lot of gap between the services that are available to them or that are provided to them through the healthcare system versus their actual needs. So I noticed that huge gap, and that filling that gap became my motivation to start this business.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, because I've seen my mom, in the last kind of couple of years of her life, where it was kind of like, the needs were barely being met by the healthcare system with the complex needs that a patient develops or anybody who's aging develops. And then there's the pressure on the family and the members of the family to kind of take on that, in addition to caregiving, just take on some of those other responsibilities as well. And it does unfortunately leave some gaps, which I've witnessed as well.
Yes, you're absolutely right. My idea with this business is also, I'm glad you mentioned family here. When, a situation like this comes, when there is a ill family member or an elderly who needs extensive care, it becomes sometimes too much for a family, right? For the daughter or daughter-in-law or son or other family members. So in that regard, our services are available. And it's okay to call for help when you need that help.
I think that's the key, because a lot of family feels that this is our problem. Mm-hmm. We need to fix it ourselves. We need to keep it in the house, and we don't want there's a guilt, about calling for outside help, for someone to help you care for your mother or your father or your grandparents or whomever it is. And that hesitancy, I think, disables us to a certain degree. And it's probably not fair to the aging patient or whomever is ill, right?
This is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You've summarized it so well.
Yeah. I think we're just conditioned.
Yes.
That we must, to the very end.
We feel bad that, this is my responsibility and I need to do this, and asking for extra help or whatever is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not. If you won't get that time for yourself, you won't be able to take care of the patient who needs your attention, right? So you have to look after yourself also.
Yes.
And that's where we step in.
Yeah.
All right? We are here to help whatever the help you need.
That's needed. So what resources or knowledge that did you begin with? Like, what was your own skill set in this regard?
So as I said, my knowledge began with just the observation of my own family members. right? And I saw around the community also, as you also mentioned about your mother's health condition. So I learned all these things, and that was my knowledge where I started off with. We are fortunate to be living in this time where knowledge and resources are available literally at your fingertips, right? So I did some research on my own. I studied some of the businesses that were providing same kind of services, how they were managing it, what were the steps they were taking, what kind of services they were providing. So I learned that myself. And I don't have any formal education in this. I never worked as a PSW, but I saw, and I just wanted to convert that idea or that vision that I had into this business.
So just to clarify, sorry, for the viewers, what is a PSW?
PSW is a personal support worker. They have a certificate. They are trained to take care of, basic needs of elderly or anybody who needs personal support care. Our business, we have some certified and we also have some non-certified personal support workers or care providers, as we can call them. As we will go into the discussion, I'll, explain a little bit more about that.
So you mentioned at the outset, you're so busy, you have your hands full, you're also working. How much time and energy does this require, especially at the startup stage? And then now, I think you have been in this for about a year now. So how is the time commitment?
In terms of time commitment in the beginning, you're right. Like, it's a lot of effort, dedication, commitment is required. You have to be available 24/7. There is a lot of guidance that the people who are working for you will need from you, because in the beginning, we are still trying to understand the system. We are still trying to establish the infrastructure. We are still trying to establish the departments that will take care of different things.
Yeah.
And all of that, as business owner, you're responsible to do all those things, right? So I felt like I had to give a lot of time. I was on call like 24/7. Sometimes I would get calls middle of the night when a PSW doesn't know how to respond to a certain client. And as time will pass, you'll have your department set up, everything is up and running. I think your work as a business owner will settle in routine and you will be less busy. Yeah. But at the moment, especially in the beginning, yes, it was absolutely very, very busy for me.
I can imagine. And then as you set up the infrastructure, you get more people to come into your team and help you out and all of that. So you mentioned that at the outset, you did some of this self-study, some research, some environmental scanning as to what was out there. In terms of what you found, what kind of gap did you identify which you specifically in your idea and your vision would then help to fill?
So I looked at different service providers who were doing same kind of things. And I noticed that, we have something extra with our culture. Right? Some extra care, extra compassion, extra love that we can bring in this industry. And that's what I was feeling that was lacking in other businesses. Yeah. Like, as an Ahmadi Muslim, it is our core belief to serve our elders, take care of them, our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents, everybody around us in the community. So this thing is something new that I can bring to this industry when you're doing something out of your heart and out of passion.
And motivated by your faith.
And motivated by your faith, yes. That, you can bring so much more to what's already there. Yeah. So we are trying to build our business on those principles where we are doing everything in a much better way, which what's already
more genuine,
there.
With more genuine motivation.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there is another thing that there is a huge aging population in Ontario and in Canada. And I feel like there is not enough that's being
That's
done.
for sure. That's for
And
sure.
there is a lot of room
That is for sure.
to grow and,
That is for
to, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how we are, inshallah ta'ala, planning on working our way up.
Yeah, one of the experiences that we found with the personal support workers that used to come for my mom was that they were constantly changing. So we would, we would spend the time to explain to somebody exactly what our needs were. He or she would be able to understand, okay, yes, so this is how, this house runs, this is the need. And then they would change, like sometimes every day. Sometimes they were supposed to come in twice a day. And between the morning and the afternoon, it was different people. So it was kind of like a exhausting task for us to continuously, repeatedly, it was almost easier if we could just do it ourselves. But you're right. And that is due to the shortage in the resources, right? So that's definitely a gap for sure. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about how do you sell your product? Like, what is your marketing strategy? And the reason I ask is because these days, I feel like a lot of business owners have such an advantage with social media and social media being used as a platform to leverage their business and to put it out there. Of course, there must be some cons attached to that as well. I don't know. Maybe you can tell us about your strategy.
We are trying out different strategies. Whatever works best for us. As you mentioned, it's social media time, and we cannot ignore that. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the old ways of marketing also, right? So door-to-door marketing or setting up information booths and things like that have been very helpful for us. But definitely, social media is a big resource that we use. We have a website, different social media platforms. We have a team that works on these, so it's constantly up to date, because these things also outdate very quickly, right? So you have to be up to date with all these things. Recently, we have outsourced our marketing to a company in Pakistan and Dubai to optimize our web and social media platforms. We'll be running our ads on national TV and digital marketing to reach as many Canadians as possible, to get our name out there, to get them familiarized that we are there. So let's see what becomes most fruitful for us, and then we will take that route.
It's a little bit of trial and error as well to see what picks up, right?
And especially when we're new in this business, I think we need to try everything to see what works best for us.
So throughout this process, what kind of support have you had from family and friends, and then through Jamaat as well?
So without family and friends and support of Jamaat and your community, I don't think you can move anywhere, right? So alhamdulillah, I have amazing friends, amazing family who've been always there for me whenever I need them, with whatever I need them with, they're there. I have amazing friends who shared their knowledge and their experiences with me. I have a friend who runs a childcare business very successfully, and she has connected me with a lot of people who I was able to get help from. Also, Jamaat platforms, like this year at Jalsa Salana, for first time, Lajna had their bazaar, and I had the opportunity to set up an information booth there, and that was very fruitful. People were really happy, even if they were not, or they didn't have anybody to use our services yet, but they were so happy to learn that there was something available of this kind.
Yes.
And they expressed that to me. They came up to me, got our information and all that, and they were very appreciative that this kind of service is available.
That is where I learned about your business as well. And I was really amazed and very curious to see what you were doing and to learn more about it as well, because it is a quite unique idea, in our space. But I'm really happy to see, that Lajna Maila is truly supportive of our entrepreneur women. And I know that this year at the National Ijtima, for Lajna Maila Canada, there was actually an award for the Businesswoman of the Year or something, right? So that's also a really good way to acknowledge and celebrate our Lajna members who are taking these risks and are moving forward, turning their ideas and their visions into reality, mashallah. So how do you measure success? What is your 5-year, 10-year plan?
So success, if we look at the financial part of a business, financial side, obviously that is something that we look at. That tells us, if the business is on its path to success or what. But other than that, why I started this particular business is also having happy and comfortable seniors and making difference in people's lives is something, if I was able to achieve that, I would consider it to be a success. Yeah. Because this is coming out of a passion that I have, right? It's not just a business that I wanted to do and I started it. So this is something that's really close to my heart. Mm-hmm. My criteria for success would be both of these things, a combination of both.
So during this past year, was there a moment when you perhaps felt overwhelmed or something was really difficult and maybe you thought, this is maybe not the right time, maybe I'm not the right person? Was there a moment like that when you felt a little weak? And then what motivated you?
So these thoughts come, right? You think about it when you're faced with a challenge. You if I'm the right person, should I have chosen this business, or maybe I should have done something else? Because doing this kind of business is very sensitive and very, you have to be very careful in everything you do. I'll come to that in a bit, but in terms of thoughts of giving up, not that much, because as I said, that this business is my passion, and passion doesn't die down that easily. So I'm ready to face challenges, and I do with support of everybody else who's around me and who's working with me and all that. Running a business like this, challenges will come our way, right? We need to understand when we're dealing with people, and especially vulnerable people, and we're providing personal support services to those individuals, there will be times when we will have problems, and everything is not going to go smoothly all the time. And in order for us to tackle those problems and handle those, we need to have a system in place. And that is very, very important to understand that running this kind of business is very serious, and we have to take it very seriously. We will be accountable for our interactions and what we do and what we don't do. So we need to have a plan. We need to have a code of ethics in place, our rules, our principles in place. We need to understand them fully. And we also need to be ready to take steps to stay within our boundaries and within those codes that we have established. So this is something that's very, very important. And when things come up, which we can call problematic or challenges, we are ready for it. We know exactly where we're going, which department is going to handle this. It's not all of a sudden a surprise that, now what do we do? How do we handle this? We have everything written down. We have everything in place. So that's how you will be, or we will be, inshallah, able to handle those situations. And it is very, very important that we have those in place.
Yeah, so there's very clear pathways for resolution of any challenges or conflicts that come up. So I was wondering, as you were talking, what's the difference between selling a product versus selling a service? There must be, is there a different way that you manage that?
This is a very good question. Because, when you're selling a product, no doubt that customer service, how you treat people, how you treat your customers is important in every business. But when you're selling a product, your product and the quality of your product plays a role, right, in success of your business. But when you're selling a service, you don't have a physical product to back it. Everything that you do, how you behave, how pleasant your employees are, how you treat your clients and, patients and that is the only thing that's there. So it's so important to have your dealings right and have your customer service to another level. And that can make a huge difference in your success of your business. Like if you really like a dress, for example, from a shop, and you go and buy it, even if the shopkeeper is rude to you, but you still like that dress, you'll probably still get it, right? Because you like it so much. Our services, there is no physical product that way that will back
it's all on you and how you present yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is very, very important to understand that running this kind of business is tricky, sensitive, but you can do it as long as you have everything in place.
Yeah, and a lot of training, I bet, for the frontline people. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So for all of those other Lajna members and our sisters who are also looking to maybe take this leap and turn an idea that they have into a reality, what advice do you have for them?
I would say that if you're really into starting a new business, to look for something that you're really passionate about. That's something that's very close to your heart. If you choose something that's close to your heart and that's you want to do, then you will not give it up easily. Yeah. You will continue to go despite the challenges, despite the setbacks. That is one thing. And the reward that you will get out of, because of your passion will be incomparable to anything else, any other reward. Yeah. And another thing that I would like to say is that believe in yourself. Sometimes we see that, maybe we can't do it or it's too hard. Taking that first step is important. And then believe in yourself. Yeah. If you set your mind to something, you can achieve it. And I'm saying that obviously with your dedication, your hard work, and will and grace of Allah the Almighty, right? There is nothing is possible unless we have Allah Ta'ala's help on our side. Yeah. So keeping all these things in mind, you should, if you've decided or if you want to start something, go for it. You can do it.
Inshallah, inshallah. So that's all the time that we have today. Before we go, any last thoughts?
I would just say that, we start business, we try to, make financial benefits out of a business. We try to make money, make a living. But sometimes we tend to forget as human beings that these are all Allah Ta'ala's blessings that He's showering on us, right? If our business is succeeding, if we're successful in whatever we're doing. So we should keep that in mind. And out of whatever we make, or whatever we do, we should always keep a portion for the good cause, for the way of Allah Ta'ala, right? Spend in the way of, for needy, for Jamaat needs, for everything. Be generous about that. Yeah. Because ultimately, Allah Ta'ala is the provider and He is the one giving us all those.
And that's the ultimate investment, right? So exactly. when you invest in the way of God and you give financial sacrifice, even if it is a very small amount that you give, you never know when God will put so many blessings in it and it's going to multiply multifold and it's going to be the true profit and the true revenue that you would hope to gain.
And we experience that, right, in our daily lives. Yeah. We spend $1 and Allah Ta'ala multiplies it. Yeah. And we don't even know the reward that we're going to get in the hereafter, right?
Absolutely.
That's even, the ultimate goal of our lives.
Absolutely. A very, very important thing to keep in mind. Jazakallah wa ahsan al-jaza. That's all the time we have today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.